Hey guys, I'm Stephanie, and this is Steph's Stove, and today we're going to be making sweetened condensed milk, homemade version. So, this sweetened condensed milk is going to come out just like the ones you get at the grocery store. However, it's going to cost about half or less of the price than what you pay at the grocery store. Most of these items you already have in your pantry, so let me show you how to do it. Alright guys, to get started, we're going to use a medium-sized pot here. This is about, how big is this? This is 3 quarts, this particular bowl. And you want something because our mixture may tend to boil up, so don't make sure it's not too small. And to this, I'm going to add 1 12-ounce container of evaporated milk. I like to use evaporated milk for this because the milk has already been reduced. And if you were using whole milk for this instead of evaporated milk, remember this is 12 ounces, so this will be equivalent to 3 cups of regular milk. But again, it's already been reduced, so that's kind of giving us a jump start on this. That's why I like to use it. Now to this, we're gonna add, and this looks like a lot, but it is necessary. This is 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Then I'm adding straight to the middle, and I'm making a little mound here. Let me pull it up so you can see. You can see that I'm making a little mound there. Try not to go to the sides. I want it mound to the middle because I don't want sugar granules accumulating on the side. Now I'm going to turn my heat on to medium. I want to let the sugar hydrate, and as you can see, the sugar is starting to hydrate into the milk. And I'm just going to use a whisk and very gradually stir it into it and let the milk kind of encompass around the sugar, and then it will dissolve. Because again, I don't want sugar crystals all around the sides of my pan. So I'm going to whisk this together. We want this to come to a boil because even though that we have our milk that we're using, the evaporated milk that is reduced, we're going to reduce this down quite a bit more, because we want a lot of the water reduced, and it's going to get to a very thick consistency, just like that delicious condensed milk that we buy in the store. Now, just keep whisking it because you can feel the firmness when the sugar is just kind of at the bottom there, and you'll feel as it incorporates into the milk. You'll feel less and less resistance and more of a liquid consistency. And again, I'm going to be whisking this often because we want this to come up to a boil, like I said. So I've got this on kind of medium, about 7 towards like medium high. So I'm going to keep whisking for several minutes until it comes up to a boil, and I'll be right back. All right, it looks like we've got a little boil starting. I don't know if you can see it. It's right down here at the bottom. I'll change spatulas here. You can see I've got the little boil starting. So you do want to stir it often because you do not want it to burn or scorch on the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to turn my heat down to a good medium, so I'm going to turn it to 5. And you want to stir this often because again, you don't want it to boil over because it will start rising quickly, and you do not want it to scorch. So I'm kind of scraping the bottom. And you can see this is why I'll need a bigger pot. I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of rising up at this point. Do not walk away. All right, here we go. Got a little rise up. I'm just going to keep stirring. So we've got a lot of bubbles. I'm going to kind of move this to the side. And whether you're using a glass top stove like I have, or one with regular traditional eyes, or even a gas stove for that matter, if you find your pot starting to boil too much, move it to the edge, move it to the corner. That's what those are for. So just kind of move it to the side to prevent it from boiling over. Then you can move it back as it cools some. Now, as we're stirring thoroughly through this, we're burning off a lot of the water content. That's what's making it the condensed milk. So that's what this stage, the purpose of it is. We just want to keep it really consistent at this point, and it will take several minutes. And again, you want to still keep stirring through it because it will definitely boil over on you. Now, some of you may ask, I don't have evaporated milk, could I use this with regular milk? Yes, you could do this with regular whole milk. I would recommend whole milk to do it with because you need that fat content in there. If you did it with whole milk, it would be 3 cups of whole milk to 1.5 cups of sugar. All right, we've been cooking at medium heat after our initial boil for about 3 minutes. So I'm going to bring it down to a medium low, about a 3 on my dial. We're going to simmer this for a little while. And what we're looking for in the simmer, we're wanting to simmer it, continue stirring it, because again, we definitely do not want it to burn. And again, do not walk away. Anytime you're doing something with sugar or lots of milk like this at a high temperature, it will boil over, and that will be a bad, bad mess. But we're wanting this to reduce and thicken. So this will take several minutes. Our color is nice and pretty in there. And so I'm going to continue stirring, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, this has been simmering for about 15 more minutes, and we're about, I think we're about finished. But I'm going to take a regular dinner spoon so you can see. Look how it coats the back of this spoon. Look at that. Oh, that is amazing. So I'm going to turn my heat off, and I move this over because I want it off of the heat. Actually, let me move this way so you can see a little bit better. Move you a little bit over. Now, we do need to continue to stir it because we want to break that boil. But the next thing we need to add to it, we need to add just a little bit of baking soda. And so I say a good pinch of baking soda to it. And you're like, what does the baking soda do? I don't understand. The purpose of the baking soda, I'm gonna get my whisk out, is you don't want it to clump up. You also want it to be a smooth consistency. So I'm going to whisk it for about a minute, and that will also help it to cool down. But you want your consistency, you see how pretty that is, to be nice and smooth, cohesive. It's all to come together. Look at how thick it already is. Look at that. Look at that. Eco brand doesn't have anything on us. We can make our own. And the flavors, oh gosh. You know when you open condensed milk, you always want to just eat some out. Oh, it's so good. Look at that. Just as thick as it can be. Look. Just sticking all to the spoon. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And we made this at home. Look how thick. That is just beautiful. Oh, some kind of good. Look how pretty. All right, this needs to cool for several minutes. Let's say 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to transfer this into a container. So let this cool. We'll transfer it up. It will continue to thicken while it cools. So See you back in about 15 minutes. All right, our condensed milk has been cooling about 15 minutes. You want to give it a good little swirl. You can see, look at that. Look at that. Just gorgeous. Now, I'm going to store this in a pint-sized mason jar. And I'm also going to use a funnel to pour this. So I want you to look how pretty this is. Look at that. Look at that beautiful color. That condensed milk. This is going to be exactly equivalent to a can of condensed milk. So let me pull this out. And you can see just how beautiful that is. I'm Stephanie, and this has been Steph's Stove. For today, we made homemade sweetened condensed milk. Look at that pretty deep color. Look at that beautiful, thick condensed milk. Look at it all on the back of the spoon there. Just delicious. And yes, I am going to taste it so you can see how thick it is. Look, on my finger. That's delicious. Absolutely delicious. Now, this, oh gosh. Oh, that's good. Now, you do need to let this cool completely. It's cool to go into the jar, but it's still slightly warm. So you do want it to set out at room temperature and cool, and then you'll store this in the refrigerator. Now, it will store nicely in the refrigerator for about 3 to 4 weeks, and you can use it interchangeably in any recipe that you have that calls for sweetened condensed milk. Now, this equals just a little over 14 ounces. This is a 16-ounce container, so you can see it's about close to the top there. So it'll be a perfect substitution for it. Now, I will say this: we did use evaporated milk, and I said I told you in the beginning that it's much more economical. It is. 1 can, and I looked it up right before I did the video, so I'll be sure to have the correct numbers. 1 can of evaporated milk, the can I got for $1. It was on sale for $1. And then a bag of sugar, a 4-pound bag of sugar, was like $3.07, something like that. And so there's about 9 cups in there. So if I multiplied that out, there'd be about 34 cents. So about $1.34 it costs for me to make this sweetened condensed milk. At my local grocery store, sweetened condensed milk is going anywhere from $2.56 all the way to $2.96, depending on the brand that you're saving or that you're purchasing. So your cost savings will be at least $1 or more per jar that you make homemade. Now, I did use evaporated milk to do this because the water is already evaporated out of some of it. If you wanted to do this with regular whole milk, yes, you could. You would just have to, you would use 3 cups of whole milk and 1.5 cups of regular granulated sugar. Make sure that you're adding that pinch of baking soda that makes sure that everything stays together and does not separate for a beautiful, beautiful end product. So I do hope you enjoy this recipe. Try it. Does that mean that I'm not going to buy it in the store? I probably will, but in a pinch, if I'm out, you can always make it at home. So just remember, give us a thumbs up, click that subscribe button for more great content and useful tips. Steph's Stove, we're making memories, one dish at a time. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day.